Hi there, my name is Earl Morrison. I'll tell you a little bit about learning from your mistakes. I developed this class as one of a greater module that I did in creating some classes. One of them is supervising with purpose. Another one is jumpstart your leadership growth. Another one is mentoring for success. One of the things that I learned over the years is that people struggle with learning from their mistakes. I mean, it should be easy. It should be one of those things that we understand that because we're human, we're all going to make mistakes. But the reality of it is that sometimes we don't like to admit that we mess up. I mean, it's one of those things that no one wants to mess things up on purpose. Now, again, I know that there are people out there that actually do that, but the design of this class is to allow us to take a look at some of the struggles that we have, talk about them and why we may put them in place, and then discuss them with each other. I firmly believe that you have to admit your mistakes in order to grow from them. And I think again that's one of the struggles sometimes that we as people, humans, we struggle with that because again, having to admit your mistakes, you have to admit that you're not as good as maybe you thought you were. And so this class is designed to help us look at that and better understand that. So I firmly believe that admitting and learning from our mistakes it goes hand in hand with accountability, and accountability is a key thing for organizations as well as individuals. As I've said, I think people struggle with admitting their mistakes. I think it's one of those things that sometimes people struggle their whole life and they don't get it right. It's one of those things that when you're putting all that together, you're trying to understand people. I think the longer it takes to admit and learn from your mistakes, the more issues that it causes. And most of us that have been in this world for very long, we've experienced this both personally and professionally. And so when I'm talking about learning from your mistakes, those are the key things that we'll talk about in this course of trying to get people to understand that learning from your mistakes is key in order to learn and grow. I believe that making good decisions goes hand in hand with learning from your mistakes. We'll talk a little bit about what that looks like and where the focus needs to be on you and your leadership and your style and how you deal with people when it comes to learning from your mistakes and then being able to understand how do you make good decisions and why. One of the things that I like to put a lot of emphasis on is it's not about being right or wrong. It's about making good decisions. When we get caught up in talking about I'm right, you're wrong, it creates so many other issues that have lasting effects on everyone that I think we need to shift our focus. And so throughout this module, we'll talk about things that I've learned through my experiences, how I put those together and figured out a better way to look at things and focus on the desired outcome and not on about being right or wrong. Probably like many of you, that was a hard lesson for me. You know, for me, if it was important, I was going to argue it. I thought I could get other people to see it my way. Throughout the years, what I learned is though that that just resulted with a bunch of lumps on my head. So it can't ever be about being right or wrong because if that's the case, we could argue till the sun comes up and down however many times you want it, and we're still not going to get anywhere. Okay, you got to be able to make good decisions, and you got to focus on the idea or the thought, and not about being right or wrong. So it's refocusing and looking at in everything that we do, we're focused on the desired outcome. Those are the topics that I'd like to present. Learning from your mistakes, making good decisions. I think that it's things that we struggle with across the board as individuals and as leaders. And I think it's topics that we don't address enough, we don't talk about enough, but I think we need to hear them.